Good afternoon. I would like to call the meeting of the Assembly Committee on Revenue to order. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Assembly members Considine, De Silva, Flanagan, Gallant, Goulding, Gray, Hafen, Wynn, O'Neill, Roth, Chair Backus.
And I am present. I would like to thank everyone for attending this evening's meeting here in Carson City, as well as those attending in Las Vegas and those by telephone. Given our two bills this evening and some lengthy hearings we have, and we anticipate probably our second bill will be running a little longer, I'm going to go ahead and, instead of our committee usually doing 3 minutes for testimony, we're going to limit that to 2 minutes. And also we'll be capping support testimony 30 minutes. We'll start 10 minutes here in Carson City, 10 minutes Las Vegas, and 10 minutes by phone. So that we can try to get through both bills without keeping my members here very late into the evening. With that, today we have two bills on our agenda. We have Assembly Bill 160, which creates the Nevada-Ireland Trade Commission, and Assembly Bill 219, which revises provisions relating to the use of the proceeds of the tax on live entertainment. So with that, I will go ahead and open the hearing for Assembly Bill 160, and I'd like to welcome Speaker Yeager and our colleague and member of our committee, Assemblymember O'Neill, to present the bill. And I know they have two guests, and hopefully by now we have the other guest on the phone. So feel free to start when you're ready.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Chair Backus, Vice Chair Considine, and members of the Revenue Committee. My name is Steve Yeager. I represent Assembly District 9 in Southwest Las Vegas, and it is an honor to present Assembly Bill 160 to you this afternoon. As you mentioned, with me at the table is Assemblymember P.K. O'Neill. If you didn't know, the two of us are co-chairs of the Nevada Irish American Caucus, so that's one of the reasons we're presenting this bill. And we do hopefully have two special guests with us joining by Zoom today. And I just want to tell you briefly about them before I move on with my remarks. On the screen right now, you can see Senator Mark Daly. He has served as a senator in Ireland since 2007. I believe that's right. And he's currently serving as the chair. Among his many goals is to strengthen ties between Ireland and the individual states that comprise the United States. And he has also been a very gracious host, hosting a number of delegations of state and federal representatives from the U.S. in Ireland. I think he will probably tell you more about that. And we thank him for joining because I think he might be on the East Coast of the U.S. right now, so he's a little bit later than us. And then in addition, the one guest that we're hoping we can get on is Bertie Ahern. He's devoted his life to public service in many roles, but is perhaps best known for serving as the 11th Taoiseach, which I probably mispronounced, which is the Prime Minister of Ireland from 1997 to 2008. That made him an instrumental player in the Good Friday Peace Agreement to finally bring peace between Ireland and Northern Ireland in 1988. Now, I will tell you, he is in Ireland, and I think it's midnight there, so we're doing our best to be able to get him to join over Zoom or by phone. So we hope that'll happen, but we're certainly excited that they are there. They are here with us this afternoon. Assemblymember O'Neill and I had the pleasure of traveling to Ireland in 2023 as part of an official delegation. Assemblymember Gray joined us as well, and you can see we have a photo, and so this is the photo of the three of us with Senator Daly and Bertie Ahern. We're presenting the Nevada flag in basically in celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Peace Agreement. So it was nice to be out there. And as a side note, Assemblymember Gray would like to be added as a co-sponsor on this bill, which we would like to do. It was a pre-filed bill, so we neglected to do that early on in the process. But the Ireland trip was a wonderful experience, I think, for all three of us, and it certainly reminded me of how intertwined Ireland really is with the United States, especially talking about that Good Friday Peace Agreement and how instrumental then President Bill Clinton was, Tony Blair was as well, George McGovern. It was really a group effort and just a real celebration of what's possible when you collaborate internationally to solve problems. Ireland has also played an outsized role in Nevada's development as well. Irish immigrants played a key role in Nevada's mining boom in the mid-1800s, and many prominent Nevadans are of Irish descent. Of course, our own Assembly Member O'Neill, but I think about former Governor O'Callaghan as another one, and there are a lot more, so I'm not going to name them all. But on my trip to Ireland, I learned that many states were beginning to form Ireland trade commissions to further strengthen those ties, whether it be commercial, educational, or cultural, to the mutual benefit of Ireland and that individual state. So that is the genesis of this bill. The bill itself is really pretty straightforward. The commission itself will live in the Governor's Office of Economic Development and will be comprised of 9 members with appointments from the Speaker, the Senate Majority Leader, as well as the Governor. The goals of the commission are listed in Section 5 of the bill, and I will read those just so we have them in the record. There aren't too many of them, but the goals of the commission are the following: to advance bilateral trade and investment between Nevada and Ireland, to initiate joint action on policy issues of mutual interest to Nevada and Ireland, to promote business and academic exchanges between Nevada and Ireland, to encourage mutual economic support between Nevada and Ireland, and to encourage mutual investment in the infrastructure of Nevada and Ireland, and then our favorite catch-all, such other issues as determined by the Commission. Reporting on the Commission's activities will be required, and the Commission can accept gifts and grants, which we anticipate it will do, so that it won't cost the state anything. I would note there is a rather small fiscal note on the bill, because I think in anticipation of having to staff the Commission and perhaps fund a trade mission or two, that fiscal note was added. We'll address that if and when we need to. I do believe there'll be private funds available, and I believe Senator Daley can talk about how other states have, I think every state has funded entirely through private donations the activities of its commission. Given where we are financially, I know this is not the time to be asking to add additional fiscal notes and fiscal responsibilities. So that is all I have to say about the bill, and with your permission, Chair, what I'd like to do is hand it off to Assembly Member O'Neill, and then we'll hand it off to Senator Daley, and if Bertie makes it, we'll hand it off to him, and then be happy to answer any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Madam Chair and my fellow members of the committee, I'm not sure what I can say after it was so eloquently stated by our speaker. I will thank him, though, for including me in the prestigious Irish heritage people, as he said, as Governor Callahan is, and several others, naturally, we've had. I just want to say it's a real privilege to be here. It's a real privilege to present this bill with Speaker Yeager. He is correct in saying that trip to Ireland was an eye-opener on their vibrant economy, their education, and their interest that they have in Nevada particularly, whether it be in business, but it's also in tourism here, trying to learn more about our state. And as several of them told me, living in the Wild West and learning when I was in conversation with several locals that there is more to Nevada than just Las Vegas. There are places like Ely, Wendover, Eureka, and they were highly interested in coming and seeing some and enjoying our culture here and the experiences of Nevada. So as I said, it's just a privilege to be here. I think the main reason he had me is I'm the one with the green suit. He did not have a green suit. So I just want to thank you very much for allowing me to be here and be with you, Speaker, on this, what I think is an important bill to help our future in the state and our economy and international relations.
Thank you, Chair. Steve Yeager for the record. And if you wouldn't mind, if we could hand the microphone over to Senator Mark Daley, who is on the Zoom. And Senator, if you would like to tell us your thoughts and maybe shed some light on how other states or how many other states have done these commissions and how they've been working so far. And thanks for joining us here this afternoon, and I think this evening for you.
Thanks very much, and thanks for having me on. And Bertie Ahern is having technical difficulties, which is a very nice way of saying that his assistant is gone home to bed and he can't work anything without her. But I want to thank Steve and PK and the chair of the committee for allowing me to participate in this hearing today. If Bertie Ahern was with us now, he would tell you himself that there are people alive in Ireland today because the US got involved, but more importantly, stayed involved in our peace process. That's nearly 26 years ago now, until the United States did so, and until they intervened, the Troubles in Northern Ireland had claimed nearly 4,000 lives, with many tens of thousands injured, and successive US administrations, every US administration, from Clinton to Bush, all the way through to the current day, have been supportive of the peace process, one of the most successful peace processes in the world, that has gone from strength to strength. But as well as peace is not only a moment in history when you sign it, it's also the actual implementation of the agreement. And Bertie Ahern was part of that over his tenure as our Taoiseach, which Steve did a very good job in pronouncing, in fairness. But also, this is about the future, and not only have we such a connection to all 50 states, but to Nevada as well. This is really about glancing back but looking forward. And our friends in our nearest neighbours, the United Kingdom, left the largest trading bloc in the world when they signed the Brexit deal. They voted themselves out of the European Union. Now, while that is not the worst idea in the world, it is pretty close to the worst idea in the world. So we are now left in the situation. We are the largest English-speaking country in the European Union, with a gateway to Europe, a market of 450 million people, with 27 countries, where all the regulations within Europe, all the taxation, all the rules are set centrally. So once you trade with one European country, you can trade across all of them for goods and services, and you can move freely. So that's one of the big key aspects. But also in the building of the relationships, and this is when some issue comes up that is being proposed by the European Union, Ireland can be the voice for your state in that issue. Where people like Steve and PK and others who are coming over to Ireland, but these commissioners would come over to Ireland on a regular basis, would go to Northern Ireland as well, and very important that they would go to Northern Ireland to see the opportunities there, because Northern Ireland is uniquely in the UK and the European Union at the same time. That was one of the carve-outs, I think you would call it, in the agreement, that we didn't want to return to a border in Ireland, because if there was a return to a border, there would be a return to violence. And the United States and state legislators were very involved in making sure that didn't happen. So in that sense, we would have the commissioners coming over every August. There's a college football game. This year it's Iowa State and Kansas State. And Notre Dame will be playing Navy again in Dublin, Ireland soon. But around that, we build a whole program of events with our version of Select USA. Our university sectors would meet the commissioners coming over. But importantly, and this is something that really hasn't happened before, our parliamentary committees would go to Carson City, would bring our industry leaders and see the opportunity, as well as our universities, to see what opportunities there are to create the relationships. And college football is an appropriate place for us to build this relationship, because college football, like diplomacy, like politics, is a contact sport. And when you put people in a room, they come up with good ideas. And then people like yourselves and us here in Ireland look forward to implementing those ideas. But most importantly, this is about sustaining the peace process in Northern Ireland, but also building the great relationships between Ireland and the United States, and Ireland as a gateway to Europe and a voice for your state in the European Union, and continuing the great friendship. And I'll finish on this, because this year is the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Bunker Hill. My own ancestor, General Sullivan, was involved in the Battle of Bunker Hill. He was with George Washington in the crossing of the Delaware when American independence was hanging in the balance. And George Washington is reported to have said, about the Irish. He said, "Who were the strangers among us who first mustered to our staff? O Ireland's generous sons, O friend of my country in our most friendless days." So we look forward to continuing the friendship between Ireland and your great state.
Thank you so much, Senator Daly. I'm not sure if the former Prime Minister was able to jump on the phone line. Maybe I'll check with AVH.
I think you'll definitely get him for the next stage. And if you invite him over, we're all going to come. We're going to come to Carson City. Myself and Bertie said, we're coming. We're coming.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, Mr. Daly, for that. With that, I take it the presenters are ready for questions. So members of our committee, anyone have questions for the presenters of Assembly Bill 160? I have a question. And I'm not sure if Senator Daly can answer this. I know one of the things is you alluded that there were other states that have done these commissions with Ireland already. And so one of the things is a part of our committee here in Revenue is economic development. And our commission's going to be housed potentially, if the bill is passed, into our Governor's Office of Economic Development. And so with that, I was just curious, other than football, if there are other specific industries that the commission would concentrate or Ireland has concentrated with other states. So I'm just kind of curious, like what economic ties you see happening through this commission.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and I didn't answer the question. There are 19 states have passed the Ireland Trade Commission bill, including the likes of Arizona, Oklahoma, South Dakota. Yesterday, it was voted in Utah from the Assembly and is going to the governor's desk. The day before, Montana, and tomorrow New Mexico is having a hearing on it as well. And the range of issues are as diverse as in West Virginia. They have a huge airport which is unused, and they're working with an Irish company to repaint airplanes and Boeing 747s because there's Irish companies are huge in that industry. But in Northern Ireland, there's a lot of fintech involved. So looking at Ireland as a partner to European countries or to US states in relation to that, Northern Ireland being part of that. So it's a huge diverse range. But as PK mentioned, tourism, other initiatives as well. But I think the fact that 19 states have done it, and even Hawaii has an Ireland Trade Commission, and they are looking at it from the point of view that they have no trade whatsoever with the European Union, and yet they have a lot of value-added goods that they want to get into other markets. And they've often been looking east across the Pacific. Now they're looking across the Atlantic for the likes of chocolate, coffee, and others, and Hawaii being such a strong brand. So every state would be different in terms of what it would look at. But education is one of the key drivers on this. Ireland got itself out of poverty through education because we have a large university sector, and what is happening in states like South Dakota is the agricultural school in South Dakota University is partnering with the agricultural school in University College Dublin, and then they're going to do collaborative research projects together. They've already signed a memorandum of understanding. Their academics will exchange, the students will exchange, you get the research projects, and hopefully then out of that you get innovation and new job creation. So there is, I think it's limitless as to the potential. And the fact that over 1,000 companies use Ireland as a gateway to Europe is testimony to the fact that Ireland is truly that gateway to the European Union, but also sees itself as one of our former prime ministers, or deputy prime ministers who served with Bertie Ahern, said, she said, Ireland is closer to Boston than it is to Berlin. Now, in mathematical terms, we're actually closer to Berlin. But in reality, our viewpoint is more of the United States of America. So we might be on the west coast of Europe, but we might be very much considered the 51st state of the Union.
Well, thank you for that. Members, any other questions for the presenters? I don't think so. I think you guys got off easy. Great presentation. So with that, if you guys want to step back, we'll start circling through testimony. So with that, I will go ahead and take testimony here in Carson City first in support of Assembly Bill 160.
Good afternoon, Chair Backus and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, Director of Government Affairs for the Vegas Chamber, and we're happy to be in support of AB 160 and very excited for the opportunities for economic development, strengthening the relationships between our regions, as well as having the opportunity to show everything that all of Nevada has to offer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and head down to Las Vegas. I don't believe we have any folks here in Las Vegas on AB 160, but if there's anyone there in the audience for Assembly Bill 160, please make your way up. Okay, with that, we'll go to the phone lines. AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 160?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 160, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers wishing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you so much. With that, we'll go ahead and open we'll take testimony in opposition of 160 here in Carson City. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to give testimony in opposition to 160? We'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give opposition testimony to Assembly Bill 160? AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give opposition testimony to Assembly Bill 160?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 160, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers wishing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you so much. We'll move to neutral testimony. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to give testimony in the neutral? We'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 160? We'll go to the phone lines. AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 160?
If you would like to testify in neutral for Assembly Bill 160, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers wishing to testify in neutral at this time.
Thank you so much. And we will welcome back Speaker Yeager and Assemblymember O'Neill to the dais for any closing remarks, as well as Mr. Daly.
Thank you so much, Chair. Steve Yeager, for the record. There were a couple things I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention. One very exciting thing is, I think just this last summer, Aer Lingus debuted a direct flight between Dublin and Las Vegas, so you now can fly direct from Las Vegas, which is a pretty cool thing, because otherwise you normally have to go to the East Coast and see all of our Irish friends out in Massachusetts before you head over there. But I really would encourage it, and I think I speak for Assemblymember Gray and O'Neill as well. For me, at least, visiting Northern Ireland and learning about the conflicts there, or the Troubles, as they were called, really reinforced to me, just how bad things can get if you don't proactively work at the peace process. And, I think we're at a moment in our country where we feel very, very, very divided. Not going to say we are as divided as Ireland and Northern Ireland ever was, but I think there's a lesson there for all of us that this is something we have to work at. And I say that in terms of Senator Daly has so graciously invited a number of legislators. I think one of the meetings, I think it was the time we were there, was actually the largest gathering of U.S. legislators, including federal delegation, that had ever visited Dublin, and we were in their chamber there, and it was just a phenomenal experience. So I know that you are all busy, but if you get the chance to go over there, take advantage of it. You're going to learn a lot. The people are as nice as can be, and if you enjoy Guinness and some fish and chips, you're going to love it even more. And then I did want to give one last shout out, because he's too humble to say it himself, but I was honored to serve as a sort of volunteer coach for Senator Daley, who ran his very first marathon. I think it was last summer. He actually ran the original marathon course in Athens, Greece. And so I was able to encourage him and train him from afar. And despite a very serious rugby injury, I think a week or two before the race, he actually finished it. And it was quite exciting to be able to follow him in real time. And I think, like many of us who have run marathons, he did one and said, "I will never, ever do that again." So I just want to acknowledge him for being a really fantastic statesperson, and I couldn't be more delighted. They just had elections in Ireland recently, and so he had to, like many of us, had to travel far and wide to talk to constituents to try to get votes to remain in his position, and of course he was able to do that. So we just ask for your consideration of this Nevada-Ireland Trade Commission. I think it really could have a big impact in the state, and so I'll conclude my remarks there, but certainly would hand it over to Assemblymember O'Neill or to Senator Daley for any concluding remarks.
Chair, if I may just add, Assemblyman P.K. O'Neill, for the record, I wasn't going to say anything, but I do have to comment. Traveling up to Northern Ireland, spending time down in the Republic, talking to their legislators, then talking to the legislators up in Northern Ireland, it's amazing to me, for the thousands of miles difference, the commonality we had with issues and how we all serve our constituents and what our goals are. It just brought it all home. And that's what I think some of this bill will do, is for us improve our delivery here, improve our service to our communities, to our constituents. And I offer to you, seriously, even if football is not your thing, there's a lot of other parts, but the education that you will receive if you visit on one of our Irish American legislative conferences is worth every minute of your time. And with that, I'll ask you to strongly consider the bill. Please join us in Ireland again this year, and thank you very much, committee members.
Senator Daley, I didn't know if you wanted to add anything.
Well, I can't add in eloquence, but I can just add this, that we would be delighted for you all to come over to Ireland. The great thing about the American Irish State Legislators Caucus is it's open to everyone, those who have Irish heritage and those who are supporters of Ireland. So we'd love for you all to come over and come to our Parliament. We have one innovative idea in our Parliament where we have two bars in the Parliament, one for the members and one for the members' guests. It was a solution to the problem that the whips had, that they couldn't find the members late in the evening when they were trying to have votes. So they had to send runners out into the pubs around the place. So the Irish solution to the Irish problem was to build a bar in the Parliament directly across from the entrance to the chamber. So we look forward to welcoming you to that and to welcome you to see the success of the United States involvement in the Irish peace process and to celebrate together this year and over the years ahead as the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, which was signed by 8 Irishmen, signed it, and the printer of the Declaration of Independence was Irish as well, but looking forward to celebrating that 250th anniversary. And as I said, we are glancing back in that celebration, but we are looking forward to the future and celebrating the great history and links between our two republics.
Thank you so much for that, and thank you for joining us this late in the evening. Even though I think you're on the East Coast, we appreciate that. So thank you for all of our...
Steve, I missed the flight, right? So I couldn't organize. Anyway, without my chief of staff who's away at the moment, I missed the flight. So I am actually in Ireland. So it's like, what time is it? It's 20 to 1 in the morning. But I've promised you, if I'm going to Nevada, I'll definitely be on the right flight. And just finally, just as a matter of interest, Steve mentioned the direct flights. Trade increases by a factor of 6-fold with direct connection, direct flights. So I think with the new connection between Ireland and Nevada, I think that is only going to make sure that we increase the connections between us.
Thank you so much. Yeah, looking forward to that nonstop flight. Well, you have a good, early morning then. And with that, I feel comfortable that we can close the hearing on Assembly Bill 160.
Thank you.
And next, I'm going to go ahead and open up the hearing on Assembly Bill 219, and I welcome Assembly Member Watts and any of his co-presenters this evening. And so whenever you're ready, feel free to begin. It looks like you have some folks in Las Vegas joining us as well.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Good evening. For the record, I am Howard Watts. I have the pleasure of representing Assembly District 15, and it's my pleasure to present Assembly Bill 219 for your consideration today. Another bill that I think helps connect people, but it does not include building a bar in the legislature. I'm honored to represent Assembly District 15, which includes a large part of the Las Vegas Arts District. I am a graduate of the Las Vegas Academy for the Arts, although ironically I went for international studies. I'm wearing a pin made by one of my friends that I went to that high school with, a local artist who has a small business called Battleborn Pins. And I am glad to talk to you today about Assembly Bill 219, a bill which would dedicate 1% of revenue generated by the arts and creative industry in our state for the arts in our state. It would help increase funding for the Nevada Arts Council and help support the development of local arts agencies. And you may be wondering, what are local arts agencies? And for that, I am going to turn the presentation over to my friends down in Southern Nevada, who are going to provide a presentation on that. After that, I will walk you through the bill very quickly and make a few closing remarks, and then we're glad to take any questions that you may have. So with that, I'll turn things over to my friends down in Southern Nevada.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Assemblyman Watts. Good afternoon, Madam Chair Bacchus, Vice Chair Considine, and members of the Assembly Revenue Committee. For the record, my name is Wendy Kvek, and I am here today on behalf of the Southern Nevada Arts Coalition to express our strong support for Assembly Bill 219 and to advocate for increased investment in the Nevada Arts Council. I'm a visual artist, an arts educator, and an arts advocate. And during my 25 years as a proud resident of Las Vegas, I have witnessed firsthand the transformative power of the arts in our communities. I'm here to explain why the passage of AB 219 is critically important in order to build and sustain a thriving arts community in Nevada. First, I'll begin with a brief history of Southern Nevada Arts Coalition, which we call SNAC, and AB 219. SNAC is a newly formed arts organization serving Southern Nevada. Our mission is to empower and sustain Southern Nevada through the arts. Joining me today, my fellow founding board members, Jennifer Clevin, Deputy Director of the City of Las Vegas Department of Parks, Recs, Recreation and Cultural Affairs, Demasina Bean, Director of Art and Culture for a hospitality company on the Strip, and Mickey Sproat, Program Administrator for Public Art at Clark County, Nevada in the Department of Parks and Recreation. Several of our advisory council members are also joining us today. They are curators, poets, visual and performing artists, program directors, museum administrators, academic advisors, and educators. Following the annual Las Vegas Arts Summit hosted by the City of Las Vegas in February of 2024, our group of creatives and changemakers gathered in a living room and asked ourselves, what obstacles prevent us from growing and sustaining the arts community? And as we unpacked those issues in a series of conversations, so many of them came back to funding and coalition building. We realized that a local arts agency, one that could serve as a re-granting agency, was the solution. And thus SNAC, the Southern Nevada Arts Coalition, was born. Local arts agencies are community-based organizations that integrate the arts into the daily fabric of their communities and work to advance the arts locally. Some of the ways a local arts agency like SNAC would support the Las Vegas community are by making grants to local grassroots arts collectives and theater companies, by offering services like professional development and visibility support, and by advocating and promoting arts-friendly policies. We will hear from Sierra Arts Foundation about the community impact of their local arts agency, which has a 50-plus year history of arts and education outreach in Reno, Nevada, in later testimony, a history we aspire to. As a newly formed coalition, SNAC researched funding solutions and did outreach to local and state elected representatives. We discovered some facts about our creative economy, that investing in the arts leads to a 2-to-1 return on investment when compared to other sectors. And that in 2022, the Bureau of Economic Analysis reported that the arts and cultural production in Nevada contributed a similar economic value as state transportation while employing half the workforce. We ultimately arrived at the live entertainment tax and advocated for a state percent for the arts that would supplement existing percent for the arts programs in Nevada and would be administered by our state arts agency, Nevada Arts Council. Founded in 1967, the Nevada Arts Council is the primary statewide agency supporting the arts. It provides grant funding for individual artists and organizations, art education and professional development. A well-funded NAC ensures that the arts remain accessible, sustainable, and a driving force for economic and community development. In 2015, the Nevada Arts Council secured a flat annual allocation of $150,000 from the LET funds for agency initiatives and programs. 10 years later, this fixed amount has not been adjusted for inflation nor for the increase in population in Nevada. Through AB 219, there would be an allocation to the Nevada Arts Council 1% of the LET. The live entertainment tax is generated in large part through the labor of Nevada's creative workforce. This is why we believe that the reallocation of 1% of the live entertainment tax into the arts is the most logical use of this funding, and the outcomes of this investment will be significant for our state for generations to come. The Americans for the Arts 2025 report on the impact of the arts, which has been submitted with our presentation, demonstrates the value in such an investment. In Nevada, arts and cultural is a $10.9 billion industry, almost 5% of the state economy, and supports more than 43,000 jobs, bigger than powerhouse industries such as mining and agriculture. Nevada's nonprofit arts industry alone generated $662.5 million in economic activity in 2022. And the arts drive revenue to local businesses. The almost 9 million attendees at Nevada's nonprofit arts and cultural events spend money beyond the cost of admissions on meals, parking, lodging, shopping, and the arts and culture are tourism drivers. Arts travelers are ideal tourists, staying longer and spending more to seek out authentic cultural experiences. 53% of Americans say, when planning a vacation, I consider the destination's art and cultural experiences when deciding where to visit. Though SNAC was founded with the objective of elevating the arts in Southern Nevada, with a recognition that 97% of LET funds are generated in Clark County, we know that arts funding is also a major challenge for our counterparts across the state. This is why we reached out to partner with them in our advocacy for AB 219, in order to ensure that Nevada's creative community is well prepared to survive and thrive. As our state arts agency, Nevada Arts Council's role is to support artists and arts organizations so that we can best serve and provide artistic opportunities to our local and regional communities. The arts funding AB 219 would provide is essential, as it would allow Nevada to build our cultural and creative infrastructure across the state to grow our creative economy. Moreover, AB 219 will allow Nevada to create statewide coalitions of arts and culture organizations from rural to urban communities by providing more timely and more robust funding to the NAC. Data from several different sources show that an investment in the arts has an economic payoff, but also fulfills a community's desire for arts, culture, and entertainment in their own neighborhoods. Nevadans are overwhelmingly support investment in the arts. 88.2% of arts audiences say the arts inspire pride in their community. Our goal is to broaden the reach of the arts and the scope of arts audiences across Nevada. The Nevada arts community is the cultural pulse of the state. We are the entertainment and design industry that drives tourism. We are the creative force that drives innovation and research. We are the problem solvers that uplift and revitalize communities. We are the artists that, through art and performance, reflect and shape our past, present, and future. Art fuels, expands, and deepens our intellectual, emotional, and economic capacities while helping us envision new possibilities and more deeply connect with one another. Supporting AB 219 is an investment in Nevada's future through the arts. It will support employment, education, economic growth, and uplift the cultural identity that makes our state unique. Moreover, while sustained federal funding for the arts is uncertain, and our state is expanding our economy through sports, entertainment, and technology, the state of Nevada can further diversify its economy and make an emphatic statement that, yes, we value arts and culture through this additional and essential annual allocation of the Nevada Arts Council. Speaking from my own experience from over 20 years ago, my first $600 Nevada Arts Council grant in 2003 supported the creation of a series of drawings I exhibited in my first art gallery exhibition in Las Vegas. That exhibition listing on my CV and the exhibition review it received made my graduate school application to UNLV more competitive. I now enjoy the privilege and the pleasure of teaching as an assistant professor in residence in the UNLV Department of Art, where I mentor an inspiring cohort of graduate students as the MFA program coordinator. Letters of support that are being submitted from across the state and today's public testimony will speak to the positive impact that the NAC grants have had on Nevada artists' careers, our state's nonprofit organizations, and within our communities. It is our sincere hope that AB 219 will be passed through the Assembly Revenue Committee and move on to the Assembly Ways and Means Committee. We look forward to continuing our advocacy with our partners across the state for its passage this session. Following Assemblymember Watt's introduction of AB 219, we will hear testimony from our Northern Nevada counterparts in Carson City, Tracy Oliver, Executive Director of Sierra Arts Foundation, Gail Rappa, Director of Continuing Education for the Great Basin College in Elko, Valerie Moore, Deputy Director, Brewery Arts Center, and Tia Flores with the Sierra Arts Foundation. We are submitting some of the letters of support for AB 219 that we have received from arts leaders and organizations this week, including Heather Harmon, Executive Director of Las Vegas Museum of Art, Nancy Usher, Dean, College of Fine Arts, UNLV, Alicia Curlin, Executive Director and Staff, Marjorie Barrick Museum of Art, UNLV, Colette LaBeouf, Executive Director, Black Mountain Institute, UNLV, Erica Vital-Lazar, Founder, the Abodo Collective, Alice Soro, Executive Director, the Las Vegas Philharmonic, Dane Cronick, Director of Annual Giving, Nevada Ballet Theater, Christy Sakamoto, Meow Wolf Las Vegas, Fawn Douglas, Founder, New Art Gallery and Community Center, and Nevada Arts Council Visual Fellowship awardees, Jun Min, Jig DePio, Justin Favela, Brent Holmes, and Darren Johnson. Thank you to Assemblymember Watts for sponsoring this bill and for your dedicated support of the arts since you have served as my representative in District 15. Thank you to Senator Doñate, my state senator, who is co-sponsoring the bill and helped make the first town hall discussion with our elected officials and the arts community. Conversations around these issues happen here in Las Vegas at the Majestic Repertory Theater in May of last year. Thank you to the committee for your time and consideration.
Are you all done for the presentation and ready for questions, or are you having other speakers down there to join you?
We do have, we've completed the presentation. We do have people who will testify here, but I think that the Carson City representatives would speak. I wasn't sure if Assemblymember Watts was going to speak first. Okay.
Thank you, Wendy, and thank you, Chair. So I'll just make a few brief closing comments and go through the bill, and then I know we have many people who want to provide remarks in support. I think you've heard that we've had many folks submit their testimony in writing as well. You know, we know it. Not everyone can make it, and that a lot of these incredible stories take more than a couple of minutes to tell. I think just to kind of wrap this up, you know, what are we proposing to invest in? You know, Las Vegas is obviously the entertainment capital of the world, and a lot of what drives that is the arts and creative industry. And we are attracting talent and spectacles from all over the world. But as a state, our investment in the arts is lagging behind other states. And what is the return on that financial investment? Not only is it entertainment, it's community, community coming together at galleries, theaters, both of which have struggled. There's theaters in the district that I represent that have been on the verge of shutting their doors. There's multiple galleries that I represent that have closed recently. The Nevada Arts Council provided incredible support helping folks weather the pandemic and the impacts of that through emergency grant making. It's an investment in infrastructure, in public art that helps enrich the vibrancy of our communities. It's an investment in education. UNLV has an incredible program called Bus to Barrack, where they help students in the Clark County School District get their first exposure to fine art galleries, and they get to do art projects while they're there, helping enrich our educational system. And it's an investment in economic development. You know, you heard from Wendy, my constituent, about how her grant helped her build her CV and helped position her to pursue higher education. That also helps build the portfolios and resumes of artists who are building out their businesses and enables them to continue to attract funding. I think the final thing I'll note, while there is some uncertainty, obviously, with federal funding, there is the opportunity by supporting our state and our local arts entities to pull down additional funds from the National Endowment for the Arts, so that these state dollars leverage federal dollars and then leverage tremendous private investment. So again, I think that this is a very good use of these funds. Walking you very briefly through the bill, Section 1 essentially strikes out existing language that requires $150,000 in live entertainment tax per year to be distributed to the Nevada Arts Council, and then instead modifies that language to require that essentially 1% of the total collections in the preceding year be allocated to the Nevada Arts Council. The impact of this would be, it's varied, but I think a rough estimate that you can use is around $200 million or so. So this would go from $150,000 a year to about $2 million a year to support arts across our state. And the last thing I would note is that that $150,000 figure has not been changed since it was first put into statute. So again, I think with that, we'll conclude our presentation. We're glad to take any questions that members of the committee may have.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Watts, as well as your constituent, Ms. Connect. And I probably should have checked with you before this, but one thing is I see that we have our Nevada Arts Council, Mr. Manfredi, in the audience this evening. And I had the privilege to go to a presentation down in Las Vegas and got to hear a lot of the stories of the $150,000 that the Nevada Arts Council distributes to various artists in the community. And so I don't want to put him on the spot, but I don't know if he would mind coming up and kind of explaining to the committee like how the Nevada Arts Council kind of works with the $150,000 in the like distribution and how that kind of works.
Thank you, Chair Backus and committee. My name is Tony Manfredi, Executive Director of the Nevada Arts Council, for the record. And I do want to say I was, as a state agency and part of the executive branch, I would be voting neutral in this bill. But I do appreciate the question and certainly can highlight a bit about the breakdown of funds. The $150,000 of live entertainment tax that comes to the agency currently is taken up by salaries for the staff that they're connected to. Previously, when $150,000 went a little further, it was actually integrated into program work and grant work. It's not to say that, having to go to the salaries, they're critical and crucial for the program team that are using it. But I can give you some specifics here on our funding breakdown. In our recommended budget 26-27, it's comprised of state and federal allocated funds. Tourism transfer is at 39%. General fund is at 24%. A combination of the non-gaming portion of live entertainment tax, our license plate initiatives, and miscellaneous registration and reimbursement fees is at 13%. And then federal funds from the National Endowment for the Arts, which we are the sole state agency to be able to apply for and receive those funds, is at 24%. The way that activity breaks out, 55% goes out in what is called tourism development. You can see this broken out in our budget breakout. That is primarily our grant funding that we invest back into Nevada artists, nonprofit organizations, municipalities, tribes, and public institutions. 24% of our funds go into arts and culture education and outreach programs that assist the above-mentioned groups with professional development, networking, and other assistance to improve the way they do business. And also the way our program staff deliver programs out, like our creative aging program for older adults, our statewide Nevada Touring Initiative that delivers professionally curated exhibits out throughout the state, in particular to a lot of our rural communities. And that leaves about 18% for fiscal and financial operations and management, and highlights that 82% of the funds that we receive go right back out into the communities we serve.
And Mr. Manfredi, Director Manfredi, just to kind of, can you give us like an example, since like obviously 82%, and it seems like it's much larger than the 150,000 as you were saying that grant money is being drawn down and other funds, but can you kind of explain what those like grants that are kind of being awarded? I mean, we got to hear Ms. Connect talk about her $600, and I had heard a gentleman, which I was moved by, that got a $5,000 grant that enabled him to travel to his hometown in Mexico to learn a trade, and then he's been able to take that. Now he's going to be appearing at the Kennedy Center, which I just think is amazing. Can you kind of explain other grants that have been awarded through your office?
Sure. The statute for the Nevada Arts Council is to ensure that every Nevadan receives the cultural, civic, educational, economic, and health benefits of the arts. So we exist to make sure that people in Nevada have the ability to achieve, receive these experiences. We do a lot of that work through our grant programming to artists, individual artists, and arts organizations. We provide operating support grants, which are critical in the nonprofit industry and really hard to find. A majority of philanthropic and foundation work actually wants a program and wants something connected to it. So our flagship grant program is our operating support grant, and we have that broken down into tiers. So you can think of the Smith Center or the Nevada Museum of Art being at a high level tier. They get they apply for, and those grants are reviewed and scored by a panel, and then ultimately approved by our Nevada Arts Council board, and then distributed out. It's a really thorough process that, again, ensures that those funds that you all and the governor entrusts in us are being used correctly and properly. We also provide individual artist grants for projects, and those can be, it's up to $7,000. Those can be for projects. They are specific projects. They start and stop in 2 different grant periods that we have throughout our fiscal year. We do arts learning program grants that really focus on both K through 12 and lifelong learning. One of the most exciting parts of this grant of late is the Creative Aging program that I highlighted, which we are working really hard to create a Nevada Creative Aging Coalition. Across the state, we realize our older adults are really vulnerable, particularly now after the pandemic. There are challenges with socialization, with integration, and this program is really activating and providing program work for our older adults to keep them engaged, tap into their amazing experiences and knowledge, and just help them continue to be really happy, productive members of society. We have some Arts Learning Express grants, which are faster to get to, and that's through our vetted teaching artist roster that provides dedicated teaching artists, not only into our schools, but into community centers across the state. And at a time when arts funding in the schools is varied, a resource like this is really important to have. And we do a folk life program. We have a folk life program that provides work for not only our traditional indigenous artists, but also things to connect to culture. And we all come from somewhere, unless we are indigenous to Nevada, and being able to highlight and celebrate our respective cultures, whether that's through food or through dress or through music, et cetera. We do program work that way. And then the last one from the community development side would be an organization that doesn't qualify to receive our operating support grant. Again, the requirements and eligibility are meant to make sure that organizations can be successful with the funds we distribute. We have a project grant for organizations that kind of helps organizations that maybe can't or aren't ready to get that operating support grant to receive funding. It's through a project that they may do as an organization, and then leads them up into possibly receiving the operating support grant.
Thank you so much for that. Through your response, a couple of my members already have been like, we got our questions answered, but
Sure.
Next I would like to go to Assemblymember Nguyen.
Thank you, Chair, and I have a, difficult question for you, but first I'll go with, ever since I got elected in 2022, I started a art contest in my district so that the young students can display their talent of the schools in my district. And, I got the result back, and man, I definitely do not have any talent there. But, I do see that this is an economic driver. I know that Las Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world, and we definitely should invest in the industry that pretty much make Nevada so unique in the world stage. So I have a difficult question for Assemblymember Watt, is that would you be okay if I asked to add it as a co-sponsor of this bill?
Assemblymember Watts, for the record, yes.
That was difficult, so thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Sounds good. We'll go to Assemblymember Flanagan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this might be for my clarification. I might have missed it. Curious to know what type of support the Arts Council does to cultural. I know you talked about cultural, but maybe like smaller projects or partnerships through cities, like the Performing Arts Program at the West Las Vegas Arts Center, something like that, or Tori Russell's program that we had up here during the Nevada Black Legislative Caucus program. So just wondering where your support lies on those types of programs, the support.
Thank you for the question, Tony Manfredi. For the record, interestingly, with Broadway in the Hood, Tori Ross's program that he brought up, the American Sun program, we actually worked with him, contributed a $45,000 grant to have him tour that performance across the state. It was phenomenal. He actually brought it up here. We had it in multiple places down in Las Vegas, Boulder City as well, and in Reno. And we are looking to see if we can do more of that performance-based project like the Nevada Touring exhibit does with visual. The challenge with the performing arts side is it is pretty expensive to tour those communities, and that $45,000 grant was one of the largest grants we've given to make that work happen. We felt that was such an important thing to bring about. There was really great cross-cultural and I think cross-state lines experiences with that as well. We have possibly a perception of north-south competition or urban-rural competition, and sharing our wonderful entertainment and artistic resources brings us together as a state in ways that many things can't. That topic on American Son was about a woman who ends up at a police station wondering what happens to her son. I won't give out the details of the performance in the play, but it is a difficult play that focuses on stereotypes, in all kinds of stereotypes. And we had a talk back after that session with the audience, and there were some real raw emotions that were shared, again, beyond the performance. So it, to me, strikes just a great example of how the arts, one, bring us together in many ways, and two, help us maybe find common ground in complex subjects. We have work that we do with Left of Center Gallery, for example, down in Las Vegas. We have our Folklife program that I said is really helping with, helping our indigenous and cultural communities keep their cultures alive and thriving through support with their festivals that they may do. So those are some examples, and I certainly can give you some specifics and provide some specific grants and impact to you if needed.
Thank you, Chair. May I have a quick follow? The live entertainment tax that you are shooting for, hoping that will allot more, that Assembly Member Watts is hoping that we can allot more too, that would be a significant amount. And I know there are other ideas of how that tax can be levied to support educational programs, maybe in the space of digital arts. So I'm wondering if this is successful. I don't see us returning to that space because it would be a significant amount going to the Arts Council. So I'm wondering if the Arts Council is open to the expansion of supporting maybe digital arts through the NSHE system specifically, not to get you into a broad space of diluting the use of the funds, just a consideration.
Tony Manfredi, for the record, I think what is exciting about, art funding is good. I will put it that way, and we see tremendous value in being able to connect with creativity and different types of creativity across the state, and I think integrate in ways that we can really help elevate all of that. And I am constantly looking for opportunity to do that and work and engage. There's limited time with staff and resources, and funding is certainly that consideration. But the more we can partner together to enhance the use of creativity and design in particular. I am I'm still a graphic designer. That's where it's one of my degrees that I received. So I certainly understand and appreciate the design field and what it means. And I think too, I know it was stated, maybe some of you wouldn't consider yourself artists, but all of you are creative. And the arts are such a driver of creativity. And they help with teamwork, they help with innovation and thinking, all of which really are important for our workforce. And we know we can help assist in all the work that you are looking at and doing, that the governor is trying to establish for this state. We know the arts can be right there alongside, helping to support those goals.
Thank you so much for that. And I just kind of had a follow-up to one thing you had said. With the federal dollars, are we leaving available like matching dollars out there just because there are not as much resources that are provided to you from our state? Just out of curiosity, I wasn't sure how that works with the federal arts.
Tony Manfredi, for the record. So NEA partnership, the National Endowment for the Arts, it's a partnership grant. We apply for a grant every year. It is based on an allocation that the National Endowment for Arts receives. It is obviously from the federal standpoint, we don't know what that will look like for our next fiscal year. That is currently in consideration. Currently, the grant we're under right now is $937,200. We, as a state, are required to match that with funds that are state-issued funds. Our budget allows for that. We are very grateful that our budget allows for that. And we, so we are able to cover those funds. The majority of the work that we do as an agency is centered around our work with and our strategic plan that's connected to the NEA and those funds. I will say what also is really important to note is that the NEA and the federal government is not telling us what to do. We actually we create the plan, we get out into our communities, we have state of the arts meetings, we call them, where we get into our communities and ask questions. And they aren't just arts-centered questions, they are what are the challenges in your community? And we are trying to figure out ways that we can help utilize the arts to solve those challenges. We then put forward our plan, and it goes through a review process, and we receive our funding from that process.
Howard Watts for the record. I think Mr. Manfredi did a great job, and just to reinforce, the Nevada Arts Council is the only state entity that can pursue those funds. But as was mentioned by SNAC, and as you may hear from some others, there is also the opportunity for local arts agencies to pursue funding from the National Endowment for the Arts as well. And so we do have the Sierra Arts Foundation, but potentially with some of what you heard from Mr. Manfredi, there could be additional resources available both to help do some of the kind of project-based capacity building to stand up more local arts agencies across the state. And then those entities could both apply for the ongoing operating support that Mr. Manfredi described that is so crucial to organizations to help them maintain themselves. But then they could also seek funding from the National Endowment for the Arts as local arts agencies, which would be separate from the funding that the Arts Council seeks as our state agency.
Thank you. You actually answered my next question, so I appreciate that. Members, I don't think we have any further questions. And so what we'll go ahead and do is we have folks already, it looks like, maybe lined up in Vegas, or we'll start here in Carson City. And also I would do, for the record, I just want to let everyone know, we really appreciate it. I've received numerous emails regarding AB 219. And I think they came to us and not to our committee manager. And so I've actually been trying to compile those PDFs and I'll get them over to our committee managers. But just in case we run out of time this evening, because I'm going to try to get us through this pretty quickly, if you're not able to speak, and I know you guys all have some great projects you probably want to share, is you can send any of your materials to our committee manager. The email is asmrev@asm.state.nv.us, and state's obviously spelled out. But with that, I'll go ahead and open up the time to take testimony in support of Assembly Bill 219, and we'll start here in Carson City. And remember, you guys have 2 minutes. I'm hoping we can get through a lot of people by doing that, so just be cognizant of the time. Thank you so much.
Hello, Madam Chair, Committee. Thank you for hearing us. For the record, my name is Michael Winsek, and I'm from the Brewery Arts Center here in Carson City. At the end of the day, most everyone on both sides of the aisle seeks relief from the storm of this mad world by indulging in the arts, whether it be through actors, authors, visual artists, musical artists, or culinary artists. These are the shepherds that hold the handle of the umbrella providing refuge from reality. That umbrella is the arts. Access to the arts is not just a right, it's one of the most basic necessities in life. Experiencing the arts and opportunities to create are abundant in Nevada's tourist hubs, Las Vegas, Reno, and Lake Tahoe. But there are many more constituents spread across our sprawling western state whose lives so too deserve to be enriched by barrier-free access to the arts. In Carson City, the Brewery Arts Center is curating or co-hosting year-round free community arts experiences, including multiple festivals, performances, showcases, and one-of-a-kind experiences. That is a pretty impressive number, considering we are only a staff of 6. Amazing partnerships and sponsorships allow these events to happen, but as far as running our organization, the only funding available to us is from the Nevada Arts Council Operating Support Grant. This is also the case with most of the organizations using art to enrich every corner of our state. I am proud to say, in addition to the free events we produce, Brewery Arts Center also creates opportunities and provides support for a dozen or more smaller nonprofits that flourish in our footprint. The arts is a synergetic industry that thrives on collaboration. Nevada Arts Council has displayed exceptional discretion in the way they handle and distribute their funding and have proven to be invaluable to the change makers, placemakers, and community pillars across Nevada. Allocating the tax dollars as proposed in AB 219 would allow them to increase their impact in a profound way that would ripple like a shockwave across Nevada. This would happen through NAC's support of many smaller organizations working tirelessly on the front lines to give each citizen an opportunity to reignite their spark, recharge their batteries, or shift their perspective in ways that can only be delivered through art in its many, many forms. When voting on this bill, I ask each and every one of you to reflect on a time that art impacted your life and to reflect deeper still on the long path of opportunities required over many years for that art to come into existence and find you in that moment. The arts are essential, music heals, and art is everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable assembly members, esteemed colleagues, and my fellow advocates. My name is Tracy Oliver, and I have the distinct honor of serving as the executive director of Sierra Arts Foundation, a 55-year-old local arts agency nonprofit dedicated to unifying, inspiring, and elevating the arts and humanities in Northern Nevada. I'm also a fourth-generation Nevadan and the great-granddaughter of Fred Balzar, a former member of this very body and the 15th governor of the state of Nevada. I stand before you today carrying both his legacy of public service and my unwavering belief in the power of arts to transform lives. I'm here in strong support of AB 219, a bill that strengthens the Nevada Arts Council, an essential institution that uplifts our communities by investing in creativity, culture, and artistic expression. The Nevada Arts Council is more than a funding agency, however. It's a bridge between art and solutions to real pressing community needs. Through the support of the Nevada Arts Council, Sierra Arts, and other foundations and foundations we'd like to create are able to sustain programming that directly impacts the lives of Nevadans and in ways that are often unseen but deeply felt. The arts are not just about galleries and performance. They're a lifeline for many. We use art and the artists to help address the crisis of houselessness, offering creative expression as a means of healing and self-reclamation for those struggling to find stability. We combat social isolation among seniors and veterans by fostering community through storytelling, music, and the visual arts programming we provide. We address poverty by empowering artists with career development, fair pay, and business resources to make sustainable living doing what they love and what they've been trained to do. We enrich education through arts integration in classrooms, giving students, especially those in underserved communities, access to creative problem-solving skills that prepare them for success in any field. When we talk about infrastructure, we must recognize that cultural infrastructure is just as vital as roads and bridges. The arts foster
Ma'am, I hate
economic
to cut you
growth.
off, but can you wrap it up? Sorry, we're trying to keep everyone at 2 minutes.
Of course. The economic growth, strengthening mental health, increase civic engagement, and create vital, important communities. Every dollar invested in the arts generates economic return jobs, and a stronger, more resilient Nevada. Thank you for your time, for your service, and your support of Nevada, where creativity thrives, communities flourish, and the arts remain a cornerstone of our identity and our progress.
Is there anyone else in Carson City wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 219? Please make your way to the front. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair and Assembly members. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today in strong support of AB 219. My name is Tia Flores, and I am proudly serve as the Program Director of Sierra Arts Foundation and the Director of Cultural Alliance of Nevada. As a fourth-generation Nevadan, I am honored to call myself a Nevada artist and an arts educator and arts advocate. I am here to emphasize how AB 219 will positively impact our rural communities. Traveling across Nevada, both for business and pleasure, has deepened my appreciation for the beauty of our state and the people who call it home. In fact, as a child, my family's favorite vacation destination was always found in rural Nevada. Each of these communities is a cultural ecosystem, rich with history, traditions, and economic industries, all shaped and strengthened by the creativity of the residents. They are home to painters, poets, dancers, musicians, woodworkers, jewelry makers, potters, muralists, tattoo artists, and storytellers, each contributing to Nevada's vibrant artistic identity. Yet many of these talented individuals lack access to resources and support they need to thrive. AB 219 will change that. The funding from this bill will provide the Nevada Arts Council with the resources necessary to develop a geographical infrastructure of regional arts organizations, each dedicated to supporting and sustaining creative industries, especially in rural communities. As Nevadans, we are stewards to our history, our traditions, and our creative communities. The establishment of regional arts agencies will empower our rural communities with the resources, opportunities, and autonomy to forge their own creative destiny, ensuring that every artist, no matter where they live, has a voice and a place in Nevada's future. I urge you to support AB 219 because when the arts thrive, Nevada thrives. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony this evening. With that, we'll go up to Las Vegas. And I know there's a lot of people up there that have signed in to speak in support. So if you can just make sure the seats are filled, and we'll just start with each individual. I believe, if that's Mr. Unger, I'm not sure who it is. The gentleman at the far left, I know you've been sitting there, so we can start with you when you're ready.
Douglas Unger, D-O-U-G-L-A-S, Unger, U-N-G-E-R. I'm a professor and writer, and I came here 34 years ago to co-found the Creative Writing International program at UNLV that's affiliated with the Black Mountain Institute. I thank the committee for hearing AB 219. I've sent a written exhibit there, but given the questions of the committee, I'd just like to talk about how important the Nevada Arts Council has been for the developing writers I've educated, more than 300 of them at UNLV over the years. I can't tell you that you talk about economic impact, and you can see what the economic impact of bringing the arts are if you go down to the Writer's Block in downtown Las Vegas and you look at the donations that have come in that have led to actual downtown redevelopment just from the literary arts angle. But the money impact does not compare to the validation, encouragement, and energy for perseverance that a Nevada Arts Council grant provides for the developing artist or to the sage master of an indigenous or traditional art who is passing knowledge down to succeeding generations. The impact for the individual artist is incalculable, and I think that is what constitutes the most enduring treasure for our state. Thank you for hearing this bill, and my program and the Black Mountain Institute stand in support.
Thank you. My name is Alicia Borja, and I'm a combat veteran turned artist. When I left active duty in 2021, I was as broken as you would expect from someone who served 3 combat tours and saw everyone on their worst day since my job was all law enforcement. I felt listless and useless, searching for a purpose. It was the compassion and camaraderie I've received by the artists here that inspired me to pursue a career in the arts. Fast forward to now, and I'm proud to say I am the founder of Desert Waves Film Festival, an award-winning filmmaker, and an accomplished actress and photographer. My accomplishments were fueled by the spark I found while surrounded by the talented people here in Southern Nevada. Art not only changed my life, it saved mine. The Nevada Arts Council provides support to local art agencies across the state by letting us, the dreamers, turn our ideas into realities. It's more than just giving money to make art. It's about providing opportunities to make our shared futures a better one. Now, if 1% of the live entertainment tax is given to those whose sole purpose in life is to create with a limitless imagination, what would that look like? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Backus and members of the Revenue Committee. My name is Gina Blackman-Taylor, and I am testifying in support of AB 219. I came to Las Vegas in 2009 for a 6-month contract with Cirque du Soleil. 16 years later, I'm still performing 10 shows a week and proudly making my living as an artist. This job changed my life. It made it possible to build our family, get a house, the same sort of opportunities I wish for all of our Nevada artists. All of my coworkers came to Cirque du Soleil in various ways, but what's more pertinent to this conversation is what we're doing now that we're here. We're actively building our creative community. My coworkers, performers, and technicians alike are interwoven into our artistic culture. Like me, they have used their expertise to teach classes, create shows, or assist other productions. Given how long Cirque du Soleil has been part of the Vegas community, it is becoming easier to see its widespread and even generational impact. My husband sits on the board for a nonprofit theater company, while my daughter has been involved with Rainbow Youth Theater since she was 8 and will attend LVA starting this fall. The more entrenched my family became in the arts community, the more I discovered a passion for advocacy. Over the pandemic, I got a master's in public administration in order to help my fellow creatives navigate the operational and strategic obstacles that can make sustainability more challenging. In fact, I wrote the grant that got Broadway in the Hood their very first federal NEA funding. Cirque du Soleil is just one example of how artistic labor contributes to the live entertainment tax, and I am proud to be such an integral part of Nevada's economy. I support AB 219 because my work has shown that the arts are in need of more institutional and structural support to continue to grow. When Cirque and MGM invested in the Las Vegas community 30 years ago, they may not have thought of all of the ways in which their actions would reverberate today. But I'm asking the state government for an investment that can build upon those efforts and the work of others so that the next generation of artists can thrive. Thank you all very much for your time.
Good evening, Chair Backus and committee members. My name is Jennifer Clevin. I'm the Deputy Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs for the City of Las Vegas, and I'm here to speak in support of AB 219. For more than 40 years, the City of Las Vegas has been an active arts and cultural programmer, providing opportunities for the public to experience and appreciate art in all its forms. We operate 3 outdoor stages, 2 mobile stages, multiple cultural centers, 3 theaters, and a number of art galleries. We work with community groups to conceive and support dance performances, choral concerts, music and book festivals, and additional arts education opportunities. We program our calendar of events sometimes years in advance using the budget our mayor and city council approves. However, throughout the year, we are often contacted by individual artists and groups who are eager to co-produce events, but we often find that, unfortunately, we're out of budget. Not to be deterred, we work with these groups on Nevada Arts Council grants to support and pay the artists for their work. Since 2014, the City of Las Vegas has received over $113,000 in grant funding. Through these grants, the Arts Council and the city partner to directly support Southern Nevada artists and arts organizations. One example is our most recent grant award with artist Jason Nias, the founder of a group that specializes in stepping, a polyrhythmic percussive dance style. Their Let Us Play Festival was hosted at the West Las Vegas Arts Center on December 28th in conjunction with their annual Kwanzaa celebration. Mr. Nias is a current International Museum of Dance artist in residence. and has recently premiered a new stage production in San Francisco. Our efforts to support his vision for the Let Us Play Festival has enabled him to further refine complementary programming for his touring stage production, which can lead to even more opportunities for the artists. It also helped the city provide a more engaging experience for the visitors to our event. The artists we work with not only provide enjoyment and learning opportunities for our communities, they also develop and hone their craft, which is then exported to other communities across the country. In this way, Nevada Arts Council grants brings economic mobility for artists and stimulates businesses and local economies. Increasing funding for the Nevada Arts Council is a direct investment in the residents we jointly seek to serve, an investment that enriches their lives. We encourage your support of AB 219.
For the record, my name is Kimberly Miller. For the past 2 decades, I've worked professionally in theater production and arts administration. Currently, I work for the College of Fine Arts at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, although I am voicing my support of AB 219 as a private citizen. 20 years ago, I was a graduate of a Clark County School District High School. I was one of the top academic achievers in my class and had dozens of offers for scholarships at liberal arts colleges throughout the U.S. One scholarship I was offered was Nevada's own Millennium Scholarship, which I declined at the advice of my school mentors. The teachers and directors I had been working with all urged the same thing: leave. If you are a young, hardworking, creative, smart, and community-oriented artist, do not stay in Nevada. The reason these mentors urged me to leave was the lack of infrastructure for creative development and the lack of sustained capital investment in the artistic communities of Nevada. Nevada lacks the power of local arts agencies to nourish and grow emerging talent, while our peers, like the state of Arizona, have double the amount of local arts agencies. Nevada, the state that houses the entertainment capital of the world, isn't currently supporting their creative economy in the ways that we should. A yes on AB 219 is a nonpartisan vote. According to Americans for the Arts, 72% of Americans favor government funding of arts and culture to address jobs and economic development issues. A yes on AB 219 is a vote for community reinvestment and economic sustainability. Members of the Revenue Committee, thank you for allowing me to share my request with you today to support AB 219.
Good afternoon, Assembly members. For the record, my name is Crystal Ramirez. I'm an artist and UNLV art instructor who has lived in Las Vegas for 35 years. I recently received a $5,000 fellowship from the Nevada Arts Council, which has significantly impacted my life as an artist. This award allowed me to cover my studio expenses such as studio rent, purchase art supplies, and reinvest in my community by allowing me to support other artists. Despite holding degrees from UNLV and Stanford University and being recognized with the Public Art Project Award from the City of Las Vegas, I still face significant challenges in securing financial support as an artist in Nevada. If funding opportunities do not keep pace with our growing state, artists like me may be forced to leave. It is crucial to have art that reflects the experiences and perspectives of long-term residents in Nevada. I urge you to support AB 219, a bill that reallocates 1% of the live entertainment tax to the Nevada Arts Council. Thank you.
Yes, hello. My name is Gingerland Van Buren. I'm the Executive Director of Vegas City Opera. 15 years ago, when I moved here from New York City, I dreaded coming out here, but I had met a casino guy, so I married him and moved. And since then, I was actually able to find my people, right? So I found a nice group of wily opera singers out here in Vegas, and together we created something called Sin City Opera. It thrived and grew as a hub of cultivation for young experimental opera. 10 years in, we changed our name to Vegas City Opera. We have done over 187 different concerts and performances throughout our beautiful state. And right in 2019, tried to start a state tour right before COVID, which got successful only as far as Tonopah. But with that being said, we were very excited to be able to support our local artists here. Something that the UNLV students appreciated, having a young artist program that they could wrap themselves into and sort of learn how to be an artist in that first step. All of our community engagement We are very proud now to be in our 15th season. And I would encourage you to support the creative workforce that is the backbone of our state's entertainment industry. This live entertainment tax exists because of the talent, passion, and labor of our artists, musicians, and actors and cultural workers. And yet our local creative community, the very foundation of the success, struggles for sustainable funding. AB 219 ensures that these funds are reinvested where they belong, supporting the artists, theaters, and cultural organizations that make Nevada a hub for creativity. But let's be clear, this money must be supplemental to the Nevada Arts Council budget and not a replacement. Our state already underfunds the arts, and this is an opportunity to expand, not retract our commitment. Local arts agencies are the lifeblood of creative infrastructure. They foster innovation, empower artists, and revitalize neighborhoods that drive economic growth while making our communities more vibrant and connected. Every dollar invested in the arts, we know, returns multiples in tourism, small business growth, and job creation. We have people from our opera company that fly in from Seattle. I've had Canadians come in because of the work that we do that is so interesting and different from other companies that are happening here in America.
I want to get a couple more people to give some support. So if the next two people sitting next to you, we'll let them go, and then let me just have those two give us some more support.
Thank you so much, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Daz Weller. I'm the Executive Artistic Director of Vegas Theatre Company, formerly Cockroach Theatre in the Las Vegas Arts District. I've been a proud Nevada resident for 15 years, even though I don't sound like it. I'm here today to express my strong support for AB 219. Vegas Theatre Company is a 23-year-old nonprofit theatre committed to telling stories that bring us together. Last year, we contracted over 100 actors, creatives, designers, and technicians, with their wages accounting for over 50% of our operating budget. Our administrative arm remains entirely volunteer, but we pay artists first because that is what we value. And that's what this bill is about, what we value. I mean, I'll be honest with you, when this bill passes and funding is distributed to the NAC, which is a terrific idea, by the way, it's an amazing organisation, if VTC were to receive an operating grant, it would likely account for 1% or less of our operating budget. The amount itself is small, but what it represents is enormous because it says that Nevada values the arts, that we value innovation, cultural vibrancy, and creative spaces where people can come together, challenge ideas, and leave changed for the better. A healthy culture is measurable and it creates the ideal conditions for growth. I'm going to leave you with a story that speaks to kind of the invisible real value of what we do. A few years ago, we produced a play about a father and a daughter struggling to reconnect. I offered a free ticket to a local barista who hadn't seen a play since she was in high school. She was in her early 30s. A few weeks later, I was getting a coffee and we were chatting, and she said, "Oh, hey, I saw your play." I was like, "Oh, what did you think?" She said, "Well," she said, "I really liked it. I'm actually from the part of the world where it was set, and so I really connected with it." I said, "Oh, that's great." She said, "Actually, I should tell you, I haven't spoken to my dad in 6 years, and when I left your theatre that day, I picked up my phone and I called him, and we had the first conversation we'd had in a very long time. And I'm actually going out there next week to spend the holidays with him. So thank you." I mean, it's those moments of change and connection that don't show up on budget reports and impact statements, but they demonstrate the true transformative value of the arts. Great cities and towns and communities aren't built on commerce alone. They thrive on culture, creativity, and connection. AB 219 is an investment in Nevada's values. It's a strong step forward, and I urge you to support it and build on its success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's hard to follow that one. Chair, members of the committee, I'm Troy Hurd. I'm the Artistic Director of Majestic Repertory Theater you heard us mention earlier. I'm a carpetbagger from Atlanta, Georgia, a city of 2 million people with a thriving arts community and a theater scene ranging from mom and pop church basements to a Tony Award-winning regional theater that earns a nice residual income from its exports to Broadway. Moving here in 2009, I thought this was going to be a lateral move from a city of 2 million to another city of 2 million. Back then, there was not an art museum. There still is not a proper art museum. Concert hall, theater of any size. We didn't have the Smith Center at that time. It hadn't broken ground. I have a long speech laid out here that I delivered once to a group of people here a couple of months ago. But to sum it up, Nevada ranks 46 in the country for corporate arts philanthropy. And coincidentally, Nevada ranks 46th in the country for education. My undergrad's in theater education. Arts matter. Theater matters, music matters. And if we're not funding it, we'll still stay at the bottom. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to note, I know I had over like 18 people. AVH, if we can like zoom back out, I'm sure we still have numerous people in the audience. And I know we had about over like 18 people sign in to give testimony and support. So I really appreciate that. And like I said, please feel free. I know you guys have written beautiful testimony. If you want to get that as part of the record, we would say go ahead and email that in to us. The email to do that once again is asmrev@asm.state.nv.us. And with that, AVH, let's go to the phone line and take testimony in support of AB 219.
Testify in support of Assembly Bill 219. Please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Caller with the last 3 digits 335, please press star 6 to unmute yourself.
Hello, this is Sean Griffin. I'm calling in on the telephone to provide testimony in support of AB 219 today. For over the past 30 years, I've been volunteering at Northern Nevada Correctional Center to teach a poetry writing workshop. In that time, I've probably had over 200 men in the workshop. Almost all of them have stayed out of prison. It has changed their lives. It has given them agency. It has given them a way through the door, a way to find hope in a very difficult time. If you get out of the hearing tonight and you have a moment, you might see some of their work downstairs in the lobby that the Nevada Arts Council was gracious enough to post as part of the exhibition from their last journal called Razor Wire. This money will go miles and miles to saving lives, and that's the real point of art in our life today. Thank you so much. I know you have a very long night ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next caller.
Hello, my name is Vogue Robinson. I am the former Clark County Poet Laureate. I was the inaugural executive director for Poetry Promise, which is a nonprofit here in Southern Nevada. And I was also the director of development for Left of Center Art Gallery. So I have done quite a bit of fundraising across the board for the arts. I want to share with you a story about a Partners in Excellence grant that Poetry Promise received from the Nevada Arts Council in 2018. The grant was $7,223, and it allowed for us to bring in a trainer from California to teach us how to teach poetry to students. We trained 6 poets. It was 24 hours of training. We paid each and every one of them. We paid the teaching artists that we flew in, and it gave each of us a new revenue stream. The Poets in the Schools program lets us bring living poets into the classroom, give the students a chance to know that poetry is not a dead art. It is alive and well and something that is accessible to them. And it also, frankly, gives the teachers a chance to have a break and not try to teach our sometimes difficult art form. It allows us a chance to just have a really good time in the classroom. And also it allows us to provide these services for free. I want to tell you that 50% of my income now as an artist comes from being a teaching artist, and that's directly from the training that the Partners in Excellence grant provided me. The current Poet Laureate of Clark County is also a person who was trained through that Poets in the Schools program. My husband, who is also a poet, now works in tech. He works in software testing, but he is now a project manager, and he keeps getting raises and moving up in the company because of his excellent communication skills that comes from that training and consistency and learning how to be an excellent poet. I can't tell you enough about the different doors that the Nevada Arts Council has opened for myself and for the organizations that I have worked for. And I am just putting my hat in to say I'm in deep support of AB 219. And I know that so many artists have ideas and gifts and visions, and all they need is a very small lump sum. So when I tell you
6 different artists' lives were changed from a grant of $7,223. So just imagine what even doubling that would do for any other small organization. We know that the arts, we are creative and we can make a dollar stretch. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Next caller.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Assembly Committee. My name is Gail Rapa, and I'm the Director of Continuing Education at Great Basin College. I'm joining you this evening from our main campus in Elko. We have campuses that serve rural Nevada in Winnemucca, Ely, and Pahrump. I'm here to urge you to support AB 219, a bill that reallocates 1% of the live entertainment tax to the Nevada Arts Council. As a former board member of Nevada Arts Council, practicing artist, and past NAC grant recipient, I'm acutely aware of our state's arts agency's role in supporting artists and arts organizations throughout Nevada. Living and working in Tuscarora, Nevada for close to 30 years, I can testify to how vital our state art agency is to our rural community and small arts nonprofits like the Tuscarora Pottery School. One example of the impacted programs in Elko is Poetry Out Loud. I'm proud to share that Elko County students regularly place in the top 3 in the state in the Poetry Out Loud competition. And last year, Elko High School student Kiara Hernandez Duarte was able to travel to Washington, D.C. to represent Nevada at the national competition. One of the exciting components of AB 219 is the potential to support the creation of statewide arts coalitions. Sustaining the consistent operation of small rural arts coalitions is incredibly challenging without outside funds. I'll leave it at that, and I just want to thank you for your time and your support of AB 219. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next caller.
Chair, the public lines are open and working, but there are no more callers to testify in support at this time.
Thank you so much for that. We'll go ahead and now take testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 219. We'll go ahead and start here in Carson City. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to provide testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 219? We'll go back to Vegas. I don't believe anyone signed in to give testimony in opposition, but if anyone's there wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 219, please make your way up to the front dais. Okay, we'll go to the phone lines. AVH, is there anyone on the telephone lines wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 219?
Chair, there are no callers to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you so much. Then we'll go to neutral testimony. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 219? We'll go ahead. No, he's good, I think. We'll go ahead and go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 219? We'll go to the phone lines. AVH, has anyone joined the phone lines wishing to give testimony in neutral to Assembly Bill 219?
Chair, there are no callers to testify in neutral at this time.
Perfect. With that, I'll invite Assemblymember Watts back to the dais to give closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Chair, members of the committee. Howard Watts for the record. I just want to thank you all for the time that you took today to hear from so many voices across our state, and what an incredible diversity of voices that we just heard from communities north, south, and in the Northeast as well as many folks that I have the honor of representing in Assembly District 15, and a diversity of so many art forms, talking about the incredible difference that state funding has made in their lives, in their pursuits, and in our communities. I'll also say I am not surprised about Elko performing very well at poetry. I've been to the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering in Elko, and so I think there's definitely some synergy there. I think one of the great things is you also heard from folks that are involved with Cirque du Soleil. And I think that just highlights that folks that are working in the arts industry, the arts and creative industry, their labor is generating the live entertainment tax. And so all that we're asking, and I know that we have tough budget considerations, but I think as the policy committee for this, I think the concept of allocating 1% of the revenue generated by folks in that arts and creative sector and allocating that back to reinvest in our local arts and creative sector, with the other 99% still going to the general fund, I think is a reasonable initiative to consider. And as one of the other speakers noted, this is definitely intended to be additional supplemental funding to the Nevada Arts Council, not to displace any of the other state funding that is currently provided. So I thank you for the time that you all provided to listen to folks today, and humbly ask for your support for Assembly Bill 219. Thank you.
As a granddaughter of an artist, I thank you for bringing this bill this evening and presenting it. So with that, we'll go ahead and move to our last item. We'll go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 219, and we'll go ahead and move to our last item on the agenda. That would be public comment. Anyone here in Carson City wishing to give public comment this evening? We'll go ahead, we'll move up to Las Vegas. Anyone there in Las Vegas wishing to give public comment? AVH, do we have anyone on the telephone lines wishing to give public comment this evening?
If you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers choosing to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you so much. With that, I can adjourn the meeting.